Hollywood. It's known as the entertainment capital of the world. For over 100 years, the biggest names in entertainment have called Hollywood home. From film and TV to the music industry, video games, publishing, and new media, Hollywood continues to draw the greatest creative talent from all over the world. But it's not just celebrities and stars. Behind the familiar icons of the industry, the grand facades and the tourist landmarks, an army of dedicated professionals are hard at work, keeping these industries running. I'm Pete Doell, and music is my business, my passion, and my life. I've been in the music industry for decades, mixing and mastering for everyone from Miles Davis to Marilyn Manson. I'll be sitting down with the folks I'm humbled to call my music family, both familiar faces and the unseen wizards behind the sounds you know so well. These are the real stars behind the music we all love, and they come together to share their vast knowledge inside the Starchamber. My guests today are studio manager Candace Stewart and recording engineer, mixer, and producer Tony Shepperd. Candace Stewart has managed several of Hollywood's finest recording studios in her more than 20 years on the studio scene and has led them through the vast sea change within audio technology. Her current base, legendary EastWest Studios in Hollywood, is a second home for many of the biggest names in music. Founder of the Mix Factory and Breath of Life Records, producer and engineer Tony Shepperd has seen all sides of the music business. Tony's credits include Whitney Houston, Madonna, Quincy Jones, Lionel Richie, Kenny Loggins, Boyz II Men, and many, many more. I sat down with Candace and Tony in my studio at Universal Mastering in Hollywood. Thank you so much for coming. Candace Stewart, Tony Shepperd, and all the folks at home. So I'm going to start with Candace. The audience has heard a little bit about your backgrounds and your esteemed careers and accomplishments. So I wanted to ask you about your current installation at EastWest Studios.
Well, EastWest, and anybody can read about the history of the studio, has been a studio since 1957. It was designed by Bill Putnam, one of the great designers, one of the great acousticians of our time, along with, I think, Tom Dowd and Les Paul. We owe a great debt to Bill and to the people in that era who really took music to a whole nother level and acoustics to a whole nother level.
It was United Western back in those days.
Right, it was United Western, and the story is that I know is that Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra had been using Bill when they were recording in Chicago. He had Universal Recording. And so at their urging, they brought Bill out to California, which I'm sure was probably a great idea for Bill and his family. So he came out in the late 50s, and the two buildings, United is at 6050 Sunset, and that is now the current home of Ocean Way Studios. And then 6000 Sunset, which was Western Recorders, is now the home of EastWest Studios. The studios are essentially the same as they've been since their original design. In its current incarnation, the owner of EastWest, Doug Rogers, bought the studio and then hired Philippe Starck, the French designer, to do the redesign on all the ancillary spaces, all the lounges and the bathrooms. It was so beautifully done and with such reverence to the studios and so perfectly incorporated into the space of the existing building.
Well, Philippe Starck has done a million great boutique hotels, and he kept that
flair.
He
has a real kitsch, a playfulness and a sense of humor to his design, which is perfect for musicians and perfect for the studio. I loved him. I think he's somewhere across between sort of a Peter Sellers and Salvador Dali. He's a genius and really great sense of humor. He's a family guy, and he rides around, and he's very French. And he rides around on a little teeny, he's not a scooter, but a little motorcycle. He's quite a flamboyant character. But what they were able to do to the facility just absolutely made it a destination studio. I mean, it's so comfortable. I comment about the building to the people that work for me. It absolutely has a soul, and once you're in that building, it sort of pulls you in and. Be careful what you wish for, because she's a rough mistress. 6000 Sunset.
But that is the one building in all of LA where there are tons of studios, where you walk in and there's a sense of history once you walk inside the control room and the live room.
Yeah.
But you walk out and it's like a playground for your for visual senses.